There's a saying that goes like this: if you're not depressed, you're not paying attention. Well, for our purposes, I want to change that slightly. And in the context of non-duality, what I want to say is, if you're not confused, you're not paying attention. Really, what I'm trying to stress here is the complete impossibility of getting non-duality with the mind, or if you like, understanding non-duality. I suppose it's possible that we could say of somebody who has done a lot of studying and research that they understand non-duality in the sense that they've accumulated a lot of knowledge about it. But in no proper sense does that mean that they actually understand non-duality. Non-duality cannot be understood by the mind. It cannot be got by the mind. So if we think we've understood this, we're definitely not paying attention. I mean, there's a few reasons why non-duality cannot be understood. One is simply the nature of words. All we have to either communicate about this with other people, or to think about this, to understand it, if you like, in our heads, all we have is words, concepts made up of words. And the problem with words is that they are only able to describe aspects of duality. The word chair describes an aspect of duality. The word existentialism describes an aspect of duality, and the word non-duality describes an aspect of duality, because it's describing a thought, a concept, a thing, if you like, because that's all words can ever do. And of course, it's a truism, as we all know. You know, the word cat is not a cat. The words, the phrase cup of tea is not a cup of tea. We cannot drink it. And the word or phrase non-duality is not non-duality. Words continually and inevitably mislead us. They continually and inevitably, for example, suggest that things exist and that things can be parceled up, that this can be divided up and split up and defined and categorized. Non-duality is not amenable to any of those things. So words are eternally misleading. Words are eternally misleading even when it comes to the very ordinary things of existence. I mean, words nevertheless are extremely useful. They are, after all that we have to communicate ideas, thoughts, mental pictures with, if you like. So let's not put words down, but at the same time, let's recognize their very severe limitations. It's impossible to convey in words even a very simple experience, like, for example, what it feels like for me to have the warmth of the sun, the feeling of the warmth of the sun shining on my face. So how much more impossible does it become if we're talking about non-duality? Another reason we can say, if you're not confused, you're not paying attention where non-duality is concerned, is that in any case, regardless of the difficulty of putting this into words, no one understands non-duality. I really want to emphasize that. No one understands non-duality. Not the seeker who might sit in a meeting, not the seeker who might be reading a book, not the author who wrote the book, not the speaker who sits at the front of the meeting. No one, no matter how big their guru hat might be, and no matter how long their guru beard may be, and no matter how many garlands of flowers they may have around their neck, no one understands non-duality. How is it possible to say this so absolutely as I'm saying it? It's possible because non-duality is not amenable to understanding. Understanding belongs to the mind. Again, understanding belongs to thought. Understanding belongs again, if you like, partly to the world of language and words. Non-duality cannot be understood. Concepts about non-duality can be understood. A description of some experience that someone might feel is associated with the seeing of non-duality can be understood up to a point, but non-duality cannot be understood. Non-duality, as I've said many times, and as others have often said, non-duality is either seen or it is not seen. If it is seen, it is not seen by me, and it is not seen by you. The me and the you are, if you like, forever cut off from the seeing of non-duality. This might sound like it's some kind of tragedy. Oh no, there's a me or there's a you, which is forever imprisoned from the joy, cut off from the joy of non-duality. No, that's not what's being said here. The reason that the me and the you can never see non-duality is because the me and the you do not exist. And in the seeing of non-duality, not by anyone, in the seeing of non-duality, not by me and not by you, it may be recognized. I would go so far as to say it will probably be recognized that I do not exist, you do not exist, we do not exist. So we shouldn't become anxious or depressed if we hear a speaker say, you will never see non-duality. That is not a sentence of doom. It is in a way an expression, oh, I don't want to say of hope, but it's an expression of a possibility. It's an expression of the possibility that when you, that which you think you are, is no longer there, then non-duality is revealed. It's revealed, but it's never understood. And if the one who's listening to this feels that they have understood it, or thinks that it's possible to understand it, then all that's happening really is that there is a feeling, a thought, an apprehension that something which is actually utterly futile and utterly useless can be apprehended. It doesn't matter at all whether words and phrases about non-duality are understood or not. I'm going to say that again. I really want to stress that. It doesn't matter at all whether words and phrases about non-duality are apprehended or understood. Who cares? If words and phrases and ideas about non-duality are understood, that's just another ornament, if you like, on the shelf of understanding. So what? It's meaningless. It means nothing. No orientation which I feel I have towards this, towards non-duality and this arising, has any relevance or any utility. And yet, nevertheless, that's worth saying 3 times, nevertheless, this non-duality, for want of a better word, because really non-duality is not a good word, but there is no better. This non-duality may reveal itself, not to me, not to you, not to us. And even when it reveals itself, our confusion may remain. Our confusion may even grow bigger. Who knows? It doesn't matter. This isn't about being confused or not confused. It's not about being happy or not happy. It's not about me or you realizing something in any way whatsoever. But if non-duality reveals itself, then it reveals itself. There's a good tautology to start bringing this little episode to an end. So I'll just repeat what I started with. If you're not confused, you're not paying attention. If you are confused, well, I really don't know what to say, but I'm tempted to say, if you are confused, then maybe celebrate that confusion. Because although there's no getting near to non-duality, maybe in that confusion, you are a little bit closer to it. Yes, I'm well aware of the paradox, if not the blatant contradiction in what it is that I've just said. But again, I feel like saying, if you hear or read anything about non-duality and you don't start detecting paradoxes and probably contradictions as well fairly quickly, then you're probably reading something or listening to something that isn't really worthwhile. So I'll round this up. No, I won't round it up. I'll just simply leave it at that. If you're not confused, you're not paying attention. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. There'll be another episode along shortly, probably. And in the meantime, I hope you're able to enjoy your confusion.